Hey everyone, this is the Spoon Dude back with another figure video. This time we'll be doing a review on the Mezco Toys 112 Collective Superman figure from the Superman Christopher Reeve movies. This is a very cool figure, one that I wasn't really planning to get when it was first announced. In fact, I missed the pre-order. But after seeing a couple videos on it and some pictures and then re-watching the Superman movie with Chris Reeve, I kind of caved in and decided I'd get it. And I have no regrets because this is actually a really awesome figure. Let's get into it right away with sort of the looks of the figure, the aesthetics. Looking at the head sculpt, he actually comes with 3 head sculpts. So the first one is sort of this more serious head, and this is the one I think he comes with out of the package. Kind of a neutral, kind of serious head. It's not exactly a Hot Toys likeness to Christopher Reeve, but I think it's close enough that you can tell that it's him. But I do think, especially depending on the angles, that it does look like Christopher Reeve. There's some really nice detail on it. If you look closely, I don't know if my camera will be able to pick it up, but there's almost this like texture to the skin to replicate sort of the porous skin that, you know, us humans have. That's a really nice detail. And then you can see closer, like he has the nice bright blue eyes, which are nice and glossy, which is pretty cool. And you can see the black dot there. So that's very nice. Mezco doesn't seem to use any sort of kind of photoreal printing kind of technology, I guess, or technique that like Hasbro or a lot of the import companies tend to have. And yet their head sculpts still come out looking really nice and pretty realistic. So kudos to them. And then the hair sculpt looks really nice. You can see all the detail there. There's no paint detail in the hair, but it is just black, so I don't really know what you'd expect. And then, of course, looking at his other heads. I'll save my favorite head for last, but let's look at my least favorite head, which is sort of the smiling one. On paper, I'm glad they included like this sort of teeth out grinning expression, but I don't know, just something didn't quite translate to figure form very well. I don't know if it's the way they did his teeth or maybe something in the eyes, but yeah, it looks a little bit creepy, honestly. Again, I'm glad they included it, but I kind of wish they did a better job. I can't really point to anything specific. In some angles, it doesn't look too bad, but yeah, something looks off. But I don't know. I'll try to see if I can find any pictures of Christopher Reeve smiling. I feel like, you know, they got the shape of the smile correct and like the teeth and everything. It's not wrong, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this head, and if you can point out what's wrong with it. I will say I do think I have a QC issue here, because you can see the neck is really long. The way Mezco seems to do their heads now, they have sort of this insert piece, which is kind of made with almost like a rubber to make it pop on and off nice, but I think it just wasn't pushed in all the way on mine, so at least on this head, so it kind of gives him a long neck effect. But yeah, so there's that kind of creepy head. And then my favorite head, which is the one I had at the start of the video, is sort of this smirking one. I really like this head, and it was pretty much the selling point for me once I saw the figure got released and seeing in videos and pictures. He has this really nice kind of confident smile to him that's very characteristic of this Superman. And yeah, I really like this one. So yeah, there's that. I think this is the head I'll keep on him the most. And then down to the costume and the cape and everything. I think he looks pretty nice. I think the Christopher Reeve kind of classic, I guess it's like a spandex costume, or the tights, really translates well into Mezco. Sort of the way the muscle definition comes through the fabric is pretty much like how it was in the real costume. So that's really cool. You can see here the cape, I will say, does sit a little bit kind of weird at this scale. It looks a little bit thicker than it did on his actual shoulders, but I don't really know what else they could have done in this case, since this cape is wired. and that does kind of give it a little bit of thickness towards the front. But yeah, the cape is wired, and that's pretty cool. Looking at the back here, you get the yellow S, which is nice. I don't know if that's exactly accurate, but it is there, and it looks pretty good on its own. And you can see they did kind of stitch it together at the front so that it sits a certain way. So that's pretty good. And then you get the S logo on the front. It's sort of this, I guess it's like a vinyl material, and that looks really nice. You do get the collar here, which has a bit of stitching, but it's really not that noticeable in person. You know, it is kind of big stitching compared to, you know, the scale of the figure, but like I said, you don't really notice it in person, and I understand why they have to do that, because if it was just like the fabric as is, maybe it would fray or something, and I think that might also have something to do with the way the cape is attached. Yeah. Here is his arms. I think this is where fabric suit kind of doesn't work as well, because you get the cuff, I guess, on the sleeve. Again, I understand why they have to do that, so that the fabric doesn't fray at the end, but it does kind of thicken up the wrist, I think, more than it needs to, and it makes his lower forearms kind of look kind of chunky, but it's not too bad. And then you get the classic red underpants and the belt, which looks really great. I'm not really sure what material that belt is made out of, but it's really nice. And I love how glossy it is. You get the belt loops and everything. And I love the red underwear. Again, you get some stitching, but it's not really that ugly to me. So I can... You do get the kind of thigh swivels poking through the fabric. Not poking through, but like they are noticeable through the fabric. It might be ugly for some people, but in hand, it's kind of easy to overlook. You kind of just think of it like just sort of the wrinkles around the costume, so it's not too bad to me. And again, like, I was aware of all these little issues when I ordered him, and I still decided that the figure looks still good enough for me to buy it, and I'm still happy with it, so there you go. But yeah, so you can see all the muscle definition coming through the costume, and it's really cool. And then you get the boots, which are sort of a darker red than the rest of the red. I'm not sure how accurate that is. They have some really nice sculpting, nice wrinkles and everything, and then even at the bottom of the feet, they've gave it this sort of glossier coating, which I'm assuming is accurate to the soles of that costume's boots. So for articulation, he has pretty decent. I'd say it's on par with sort of a Marvel Legends figure. You get double ball pegs at the top of the neck and a single one at the bottom. You can see these nice big balls that get the head looking up quite a lot, and of course down and just tilting all around. So shoulders, he has sort of a standard ball hinge, and that goes out really nicely and can move forward. This is where you really want to be aware of the fabric as you're moving it so it doesn't pinch or anything. But you can work with it, and it's actually not as tedious as I would have thought it was. So yeah, just kind of be aware of where this seam line is so that you're not putting too much stress on it. You can definitely get him into some really cool flying poses with his arms out, no problem. You get a bicep swivel, you get double joints at the elbows. Here it's definitely a little bit limited. I guess they just didn't cut out enough space for the hinges. So yeah, that could have been better. And then he has the standard ball hinge joint at the wrist, so you can move those whatever direction you want. You get a diaphragm joint, which feels like it's double ball pegs, and then a single at the bottom, I want to say. He really has great sort of crunching movement, so that's awesome. And even backwards is great too, and especially sort of moving him side to side. I really love this in particular. So Christopher Reeve Superman was sort of known to have this sort of, I don't know, like body language or movement when he was flying. Like he'd turn and it would really make you believe that, you know, a man could fly. And I love that this figure can help you sort of get into those poses to really get him looking like he did in the movie. So like if he's turning, right? So that's pretty cool. These joints do rotate, but of course the fabric will get in the way, and you can see the way it wrinkles. So that's, you know, something to be aware of. The hips, you get a, I guess, ball joints, so you can kick up quite a lot, and then out. Not bad. You know, you want to be careful, but you know, you can move, so that's pretty cool. You obviously get some thigh swivels, but they're a little bit tight. This side not so much, but this one's kind of tight, so it is kind of limited there. But you get enough that it helps. Double knees, so that's something. Feet are on, I think, just single ball pegs. You get a little bit of a tilting there, and then a little bit up and a little bit down. I do wish his feet could point down more for a flight pose. When I'm trying to pose him flying, I do tend to want the feet to point down more. But outside of that, and I guess the elbows, his articulation is pretty awesome. Like, he doesn't have any butterfly joints or anything, and the fabric does limit some of the posability. But for the most part, you're definitely going to be able to get him to do most of the kind of Superman stuff you want. So that's pretty good. Like, there's a pretty good solid flying pose, I'd say. So yeah, being a Mezco release and being like an exclusive, it does come with a pretty good amount of accessories. We already talked about the alternate heads. You get 3 heads in total. Then you of course get a bunch of hands, kind of gripping hands to hold, I guess, some of the accessories. You get sort of these open hands with these kind of karate chopping hands for when he flies. So that's pretty good. And then you get one left hand which holds a specific accessory, which we'll get to. You get his kryptonite that Lex Luthor used on him in the first movie, and this actually has a real metal chain, so that's really cool, and some clear green plastic. I have noticed that on camera it looks very dark. You know, it doesn't have quite the bright light green glow as it did in the movie, but it looks really cool in person, so there's that. And you can put that around his neck, which is pretty cool. And then you get the, I guess, fake kryptonite from Superman 3. So there's that. And this one actually looks really cool on camera. You can see it almost looks like it's glowing, but it is just clear, translucent green. So I really like this, even though Superman 3 is not my favorite Superman movie. And then lastly, you get the 3 crystals from, I guess, just all the movies. So you get 2 of these sort of clearer ones, and then you get the green one that he used to make the Fortress of Solitude, and then later he had a different green one that gave his powers back in Superman 4. So there's that, and they do each have little magnets at the bottom. But yeah, and these are the accessories for this one left hand to hold. So that can just sit between his thumb and the rest of the fingers, and that looks pretty cool. Now these have magnets at the bottom, and that works with this base, this Fortress of Solitude display base, which I assume is kind of a big part of the high asking price for Mezco. So this is sort of made with like a, I guess it's a harder plastic. I don't really know, my plastics well, but you get this really nice sculpt work all around, very detailed, very movie accurate, and it's this nice kind of clear bluish white color that looks really awesome in the light. Sort of creates its own shading and shadows. I don't really see any paint on it, but like I said, the way it just sort of the finish on it and the clearness of it makes it look really cool. Superman looks pretty cool on it, but this is where the crystals comes in. So you have 3 settings. You can turn it off, you can turn it on, or you can set it in the middle, and that way it's off until you take one of your crystals. Let's use the green one so you can see better. And there's this hole right in the center of this kind of center panel or whatever, and you get the magnet on the crystal, I'm probably over explaining this. Anyways, put the crystal in and it turns on the lights. And that's pretty cool. You do have to install the batteries yourself, but they actually give you the batteries in the package, so you just need a screwdriver to get that in. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know how well it's showing up on the camera, but in person it looks pretty incredible, especially if you turn down the lights. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty good. So even just turning on one of my lights, or turning off one of my lights, you can see that how it glows, and I really like that. So that's pretty cool. Once you're done, you can just pull the crystal out. And I don't know if this is what Mezco was intending, but what I like about the sort of crystal feature is that it means you don't have to always take the figure off the base and flip it upside down and, you know, mess with the switch in order to turn it on and off. You can just put the crystal in and then take it out, and then, like, you know, you can imagine this on your shelf. Put the crystal in and out if you want to turn it on, like if you're taking a picture or doing a video or showing it to someone. And then once you're done, you can just set the crystal aside. So I think that's a cool feature. The only, you know, problem you'd have to worry about is where you put the crystal when it's not in. But yeah, that's a pretty cool base. I'm really glad it comes with it. It's a really fun accessory, and should be fun for some pictures. And then last but not least, he comes with the sort of more standard Mezco display base with the peg on it. You get the Superman title on there and the sky in the background. And then you do get the posing arm that is really good for some flight poses. You can just pop out the peg with this one, and then you can get him into a cool flying pose. Have to compare him to my custom, which I did a video on. Make sure to watch that. But what I like about Mezco figures is they're actually pretty decently scaled with Marvel Legends. You can see sort of head size is kind of comparable. So I can pose this Christopher Reeve Superman with some of my DC custom Marvel Legends figures. And he shouldn't look too out of place minus the fabric, but yeah, there's that. So yeah, there is the Mezco Superman. I'm really happy that I got him. I think he's an awesome figure. He might be my favorite figure of this year. I don't know. I have some pretty good Mafex figures that I bought, but yeah, there's just something really cool about this figure. He feels really special, and I'm glad I was able to get him. Again, he's very expensive, especially if you're going on the secondary market, but I would argue if you're interested in this figure, it's probably best to buy it now. Because if you wait, the price is probably just going to go even higher. Alright, so that's the figure. Let me know what you think of the figure in the comments below. Is he a figure you're interested in getting? Have you already gotten him? What are your thoughts on it? And let me know if you want to see more action figure reviews from me. In the meantime, I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.